Hi guys! Today I've done a little experiment and I have brush styled one side of my hair to see if it really does make a difference to 2C 3A curls. Can you guess which side is which? Okay, so my hair is freshly washed and smelling lovely. What I've just done is my normal wash day routine, and for those of you that haven't seen it, I'll post a link down in the description box. So what I'm going to do now, on this side of my head, I'm going to brush style using my trusty Denman D3 brush, and you can see I've taken out every other row and I found that that's just reduced some of the tension and it feels a little bit more gentle on my hair. And on the other side, I'm just going to rake in some of my Eco Style gel with the red lid and then just brush it through normally, and we're going to compare the difference. So when I use my Denman brush, what I'm going to do first is just clip up my top layers with my just trusty claw clippers, pack of 9 I think from Primark, good old Primark. So clipped that nice and tightly out the way, making sure there's no bits around the back that have slipped out, because I've had it a few times where I've caught the brush in it. So what I'm going to do now, there are 2 ways that I've seen the Denman brush being used. So the first one, I haven't got a mirror, so I'm sort of trying to use my peripherals to see, so apologies if I keep looking away. First one I've seen is the one that gives me 50-50 results. The sort of brush twirling, I think I call it, which produces sort of a looser ringlet. The other one I've seen people do is they run the brush down to the bottom and then they just twist it. I do go into a bit more detail on the different ways of brush styling in another one of my videos, so I will post the link to that in the description box as well. So they're the 2 ways of using the Denman brush. To be quite honest, I'm probably going to do a mixture of the both depending on how it works. So I'm just going to make sure it's all thoroughly detangled, and I'm going to give it another little spray with water just to make sure that it's fully saturated, because the Denman brush can be quite harsh on your hair, I found, if it doesn't have the exact amount of slip it needs. So I'm going to brush style this whole side of my head, and I will do that in a time lapse. You know what, I've got to admit, that's probably one of the more successful attempts at using my Denman brush. I'm always a bit worried when I try and demo it because it doesn't always go to plan. So what I'm going to do now is I've got the red Eco Style gel. I'm just going to use a blob, not quite that much, probably about that big, because I've got quite a lot of mousse and curl cream in my hair already. I don't want it to get too weighed down. So I'm going to use my spray bottle, which has just got a little bit of warm water in it, and then I emulsify it with the water in my hands, and this just helps remove some of the stickiness. When my hair is quite fine and it's more wavy sometimes, Using the water helps it not be quite so heavy on my hair. And then I'm just gently squishing it in. That squelchy noise is always a good sign that you've got enough product in your hair. So as I said, I'm just scrunching this all in. Making sure it goes up to my roots as well. Again, where my hair sort of falls into the wavy category, the curl doesn't always go right up to my roots. So I find scrunching really helps get that curl going all the way up. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hair nice and wet on this side, and then I'm just going to rake in some of the same gel, and then rather than brush style it, I'm just going to brush it through with a normal hairbrush. So again, spray bottle, warm water. If you haven't already got this bottle, I really recommend it. You can see it's like a constant stream and it gets your hair really wet really quickly. I used to use from Superdrug, like in the travel kit, the little sort of bottle. Didn't quite work. I'd end up getting hand cramps. Right, so my hair is now wet. I'm going to use the same amount of the gel, about that much. More water. Water is your friend. And then I'm going to apply it initially using the praying hands, just to make sure it's nice and distributed. And then I'm going to gently rake it through. Again, making sure I get it up to the roots. It's sort of a fine line. You need to make sure you're getting the gel up to the roots so the curl goes all the way up, but you don't want to put too much gel at your roots because it can stick the curl down. Curly hair is a funny old game. So now that's raked through. The difference in shrinkage it gets. That's mad. Right. So now, this is just an old hairbrush that I think my mum gave me a few years ago. Hi, Mummy. So I'm now just brushing it through. So this is helping get the product evenly distributed, but I'm not using the handle of the brush to style, although I have done with this brush before I got my Denman. So that's all brushed through. Trying to sort of brush up and out to get some volume as well. And then last thing I'm going to do, add a little bit more water. That was my thumb slipping, I didn't break it. And then again, give it a really good scrunch. There's that lovely squelchy sound. Equal parts satisfying and revolting. So, oh, sometimes it reminds me of like listening to people chew. Sets my teeth on edge. So this side has been brush styled, this side has just been brushed and scrunched. So what I'm going to do now is go off camera, diffuse my hair, and then I'll come back and talk about the results. And we're back. So my hair's probably about 90% dry. Basically I got hot, so I stopped. So just as a reminder, this is the side that I brush styled, this is the side that I didn't. So the first thing you'll notice is that this side is a lot more uniform and the curls are a lot tighter and a lot more defined, especially if I push back the top layers. This side has sort of dropped to a lot looser waves compared to this side. Now, like with anything, there are pros and cons to brush styling. What I noticed today was that the bigger clumps that brush styling can provide, whilst that is good if that's what you're looking for, it meant that this side of my hair took quite a bit longer to dry than this side. It's also, as you might think, a lot more time consuming than if you just let your hair do its thing, because you have to take the time to brush style each individual clump. Some curl patterns might not respond well to brush styling as well, because where it's a form of curl training, you are literally telling your curls where to go, and if your hair doesn't want to go in that particular direction, it might not work very well. Also, and this has happened to me, if your hair doesn't have the exact right amount of slip and slide, the brush can actually get tangled up in your hair. Now this next one can be either a pro or a con depending on what your curl goals are. Brush styling increases shrinkage. The side that I brush styled stops here, the side that I didn't brush style stops here. Now obviously there are upsides to brush styling, otherwise nobody would do it. If you're looking for those tighter curls, then brush styling does have a big advantage because, as I said, you are forcing the curls to curl that little bit tighter. It can also reduce frizz because you're smoothing down any frizzies that are trying to escape as you're brushing it. It also adds definition. Like I keep saying, it's a form of curl training, so you are literally telling your hair where to go and you can tell it to form those nice defined curls. So that's that. That's some of the upsides and downsides, insides, outsides of brush styling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun filming this today, as you could probably tell. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if there's any forms of brush styling that you've tried, what you didn't like about it. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you soon. Bye bye! One of these days I'll hit record. So what I'm going to do now is clear my throat and then just twist it. Fluff that up and drop my brush on the floor. So just as a reminder, don't scratch your nose on camera. I meant my head this, I sound really patronising when I say obviously. I swear I don't mean to.